Hello, hi, assalamu alaikum everyone. Um, Soul Searching podcast number 10 or number 9, something like that. So, I would like to continue from yesterday. YOLO. So, YOLO stands for you only live once, is incorrect and illogical. This is because the Creator Allah has given us free will. Yes, and the free will is a fact. Free will allows autonomy, self-awareness. Free will allows dual nature, positive nature and negative nature. And so positive nature, the number one positive nature is to worship the Creator Allah, be grateful to the one who created you, and that is the Creator Allah. Allahu Akbar, meaning Allah is the greatest, God is the greatest. And negative nature factors such as hatred, anger, jealousy, arrogance, ignorance. And this is where the atheist, they actually choose to be arrogant and then they choose to be an atheist. Meaning, so the atheist choose to be atheist, meaning they choose not to, the atheist choose not to believe in God, not to believe in Allah, and it's based on arrogance. So, yeah, the free will proves that the earthly life is an examination. How? So the dual nature, the positive nature allows you to choose to worship the Creator as a Muslim. Why Islam? Read the Quran with an open mind and you will understand. And the negative nature, basically, choices. So the negative nature, you choose. If you choose to live in a negative nature zone, so then you choose to be arrogant, ignorant, and bad, and also deny. You will choose to deny the Creator Allah, and or you would be on an incorrect path, meaning living a non-Muslim life. So yeah, well, let me explain this more clearly. So you see, when the lion is chasing the deer, when the lion is chasing the deer, and the deer stops for a few seconds and says to the lion, and the animals have their own language, they understand each other, and the lion and the deer pleads to the lion, please don't eat me, and the lion basically says, look, you're my dinner, I can't help it. Yeah, and so the lion, kills the deer and eats the deer. So in that scenario, if I was a human, a child of Adam, chasing the deer in my jeep, say me and my friends, and then we want to shoot the deer, and then, which is wrong, but for example, and then the deer, we can see the deer is crying, and we can see the deer is sad, and we, using our free will, change our mind, and we let the deer go, and we come home. And the lion can't do that. You see, so what I'm saying is therefore the lion doesn't actually know what's wrong and what's right. The lion, yeah, so what I'm saying is if the Creator Allah, what I'm saying is if the Creator Allah gave us only negative nature factors, then there is no test, because we wouldn't know what good is. And again, if the Creator Allah only gave us positive nature factors, again there is no test, because we wouldn't know the difference between good and bad. However, what is important to notice regarding the free will, that the free will allows you to have dual nature, good nature and bad nature. And that proves that the earthly life is an examination. Let me explain further. So, when you choose to worship the Creator Allah as a Muslim, which is the number one choice within the positive nature factors, and then with Allah's mercy, you are rewarded after you have tasted death. You see? But oppositely, if you didn't and you lived a non-Muslim life, atheistic life, which obviously you chose because of the free will, then you have failed. See, you have failed your test, and therefore you will be subjected to punishment. Having said this, the Creator Allah knows best. So, I hope I have explained this properly. The free will proves that the earthly life is an examination. The earthly life is the examination. Life is permanent. Lack of knowledge leads people to make things up. In other words, speculate. Before I continue, I would like to explain how life is permanent. This is because the real you is your soul, ruh in Arabic, not your earthly body. And we don't die, we taste death. So when Allah sends the angel of death, the angel of death reclaims the soul, your soul or my soul. And by the way, the soul belongs to the Creator Allah, because I did not and I cannot create myself. I did not create myself and I cannot create myself. That's impossible. The soul is immaterial, the soul is unseen, and the soul is a special creation from the Creator Allah. The real you is your soul, not your earthly body. So that's how life is permanent. And so the earthly life, so just to summarize this topic, important topic, life is permanent. How? The real you is your soul, not your earthly body. And the earthly life is the examination. And if you live a good Muslim life, and or you live a Muslim life, then you are rewarded by the Creator Allah with paradise. You are gifted with paradise, Jannah. And oppositely, if you decided to live a non-Muslim life, an atheistic life, then you failed your test and you end up in the fire of Jahannam. Having said this, the Creator Allah knows best. So that's how life is permanent. And so, because don't forget, life is permanent. Life is permanent because the real you is your soul. Allah created the soul to live forever. So you shouldn't be unwise and live a non-Muslim life and then ruin everything. Meaning, don't become a never-ending tragedy. Don't be that person in Surah Mulk. Basically, in the Quran, Allah says the people who end up in the fire of Jahannam, hellfire, the guardian angels of the hellfire will ask them, "Did no warner come to you?" And they will reply, "A warner came to us, but we did not believe in the warner, and therefore, basically, we were stupid." And again, we chose not to believe in the warner, and so that's why we are stuck in hellfire. So I hope I have explained how life is permanent, and so you don't want to mess it up. Yeah. So just to again quickly to summarize how life is permanent, because the real you is your soul, not your earthly body. This earthly life is the examination. The free will proves this earthly life is the examination. When you face death, if you die a Muslim, if you taste death as a Muslim, then with Allah's mercy, you are gifted paradise, Jannah, and if you tasted death as a non-Muslim, then Allah will punish you in the fire of Jahannam. Having said this, the Creator Allah knows best, and what I was going to add is that the free will proves the earthly life. The free will proves that the earthly life is the examination. That's correct. And the soul is permanent. And so therefore, the soul is permanent, therefore life is permanent. Yeah? The soul is permanent, therefore the life is permanent. So you don't want to mess up. And the question comes to mind, what is permanent success? The permanent success is become a Muslim today, don't delay, because you don't know when the Creator Allah will send the angel of death to you. So become a Muslim today, don't delay. And get the gift of going to Jannah, a place in Jannah, paradise. Lack of knowledge leads people to make things up. In other words, speculate. Lack of learning leads us to believe in foolish and naive men such as Lawrence Krauss, Richard Dawkins, Charles Darwin, Stephen Hawking, and the likes of them. And as I mentioned earlier, YOLO, you only live once, is incorrect and illogical. We have free will and positive and negative nature. We have been created this way with dual nature and free will, so we can be tested. Therefore, the earthly life is the examination. The Creator wanted to create us, and so the Creator did. Likewise, a painter artist wants to paint, and so the painter artist paints. A designer wants to design, so the designer designs. Life is permanent. The Ruh makes it permanent because the Ruh soul is eternal. Meaning, the Creator Allah created the soul, which is a special creation, to live forever. Life has many phases. The Ruh is given a temporary earthly body. This body that we have now is like an avatar. The body is from earth and it goes back into earth. Our dual nature, negative and positive, proves life on earth is a test, full of tests, big and small. If you live a life with negative nature, full of ignorance and arrogance, denying the Creator Allah and the final messenger, rejecting Islam, then you have and will earn the punishment, negative nature, punishment. If you say you are good and you don't need God, then that is pure arrogance. This is because you and I, we have negative nature, and because of negative nature we will always be biased and opinionated, and most of the time we cannot be just. On the other hand, if you choose to live with a positive nature and primarily acknowledge the Creator and the final messenger, meaning Islam, and live a good Muslim life, then your reward is paradise. Life on earth is an examination, and also the part of life on and inside earth is temporary. Importantly, overall, our lives are permanent. Read my e-article on Amazon, What Keeps Us Alive. The Ruh soul makes your life and my life permanent. We were created eternal, but you cannot do as you please. For millions of years, the Creator Allah sustained and looked after the planet Earth and everything inside Earth. For billions of years, before men and women, the Creator maintained galaxies, stars and planets inside the limited multiverse. Try to look at a supernova when a star explodes, or imagine being inside the sun over 15,000 degrees hot, super hot. Now imagine the fire of Jahannam. The fire of Jahannam is real and far more hotter than the sun or any known star in the limited multiverse. So I am telling you, you don't want to end up in the fire of Jahannam. You don't want to become a never-ending tragedy. If you, whoever you are, listening to this podcast, if you are a non-Muslim, then you want to become a Muslim without delay, because if Allah sends the angel of death and takes your soul as a non-Muslim, then you are in serious trouble. You can end up becoming a never-ending tragedy, meaning stuck in hellfire forever. Having said this, the Creator Allah knows best. Phases of life. Root soul is permanent and eternal. The soul is put inside the earthly body. Death occurs, experience of death, when the time comes to pass, meaning Allah decides when. In the state of the grave, the unseen grave, in the state of the grave, but don't forget we are talking about the unseen, the invisible. Inside the unseen, the invisible grave, the parallel dimension grave. These are just examples for you to understand. Inside the grave, you are timeless. Just before the Judgment Day, you are given a new and stronger body. On Judgment Day, one of two things will happen to you. Actually, you will know straight away. According to Islam, a person who dies as a Muslim will be told, according to Islam, a person who experiences, a person who tastes death, a person who tastes death as a Muslim, experiences death as a Muslim, will be told by the angel of death that eventually he or she will be going to Jannah, paradise. And again, according to Islam, the person who experiences death as a non-Muslim will be told by the angel he or she will be eventually going to the fire of Jahannam, meaning hellfire. Having said this, the Creator Allah knows best. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my channel. Please use this podcast to do dawah. If you are a Muslim listening to this podcast, please share it with your non-Muslim friends, if you have any non-Muslim friends, or your neighbor, because it is important as Muslims to give dawah, to tell the non-Muslims about this beautiful Islam, and they can use Islam and apply Islam, and Islam is the road to paradise, road to Jannah. We have to tell all the non-Muslims about how Islam is beautiful and how the non-Muslims can go to paradise with us as Muslims. You see, after I read namaz, I do dua, and this particular dua I say, Oh Allah, O the Creator Allah, forgive all the Muslims of the past, present and future, and guide the non-Muslims to Islam so they can also go to Jannah, go to paradise with us as Muslims. Ameen. And I also say, Ya Allah, I know it's up to them. Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi zulman kaseera wa la yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta faghfir li maghfiratan min indika warhamni innaka anta ghafurur rahim. All my mistakes are mine. All knowledge is from the Creator Allah. And I ask Allah to forgive me for my mistakes in this video and all my videos and in the books and the e-articles that I have written. And having said all this in this video and all my videos, and have written e-articles and having said all this in my books, e-articles, in my videos, the Creator Allah knows best. Having said all this in my books, in my videos, the Creator Allah knows best. The Creator Allah knows best. Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. I ask Allah to forgive my sins. Ameen.